Hi, welcome. I'm Jessie Walters from Charles Rutenberg, and I'm here today to talk to you guys about renting versus purchasing or buying. I talk to a lot of people, obviously, every week, and we talk about the market trends and is the market going to crash? Is this just a bubble? What's going on? And as we were saying last week, the interest rates are still low. And so it's still a good time to purchase. I know that the prices are higher, but the interest rates are lower. And then when you do the math, it almost ends up to be the same payments as if the houses were like $100,000 less and your interest rate was 8%, where the interest rates now are like 3.2, and the houses are like 300,000, base instead of 200,000, if that makes any sense whatsoever. But basically, it comes out to almost the same exact payment. So you're pretty much in the same position. If you're ready to buy, then you're ready to buy. So we were talking about renting versus purchasing. How do you know if you're ready to buy? Well, are you in a position where you have a full-time job, and this job you're going to be at? So in other words, you're not looking to relocate. If you're looking to relocate, probably not a good time to buy, because now you've got this house, you've got to sell, or you've got to rent out, and you've got to go and get another home. And is this going to put you in a leveraged position if you have to rent somewhere else or purchase somewhere else? So you want to make sure that you're going to be here for a while. So say you're in Tampa, you're working in Tampa, and you've been at your job for a year, you're not going to go anywhere else, and you're renting in Tampa. Now, would it be a good time for you to buy? Yes, because you're at a job, the job's going to last, your company's doing well, stuff like that. That puts you in a good purchasing position. And then you're like, well, what do I need to actually purchase? Okay, so if you're a millennial, and the first thing you're going to do is work on your down payment, and you want to work on how much do you need down. Well, there's a whole bunch of different loans with different down payments depending on where you're at. So those are going to come into play. And then also, when you're looking to get your down payment and stuff, you're going to work on your credit score too. So let's go over different loans. There's of course cash buyers so say your grandma has left you a bunch of money, and you have a bunch of money in an account, and you don't know what to do with it. It's always good to buy real estate, because real estate, as you can see, has been going up, trending up this year, projected. In normal years, projected to go up 4%. This year, projected to go up at least 8%. So you've got that going for you. So if you purchase cash, they say cash is king. And cash, obviously, usually outbids everybody. If you put a decent offer in, you usually will win. I do see cash offers lose, though, if they get too low on the offer. People will wait for that financing if they're going to make $10,000, $20,000. So remember that when you're putting your cash offers in. So then you got your second place is going to be conventional mortgage. Now, there's a whole bunch of different conventional mortgages right now. The standard one is 20% down. So that's the most popular. Banks like to see that. Sellers like to see that from their buyers, 20% down. So when you do the math, when the average cost of a home, say you're going to commute. You're going to buy a home in Pasco, and you're going to commute to Tampa because the price per square foot is less in Pasco than it is in Hillsborough. So you're going to commute. So $300,000 house you found, and you've been approved, and you're going to put 20% down. Well, of course, doing math, is 300,000 times 20% is going to be $60,000 down payment. As we know, not everybody has that. So there are different conventional mortgages with lower down payments. But if you were going to go and purchase that $300,000 home and get your $60,000 down, how do I come up with that money? So there's a couple books which are good to read, but I like Dave Ramsey, and I'm not a Dave Ramsey realtor, but I do like how he tells people how to save and how to eventually be without that mortgage, and you don't have to live for your mortgage. I like his philosophy on all that you have a home, and you have a life, you don't live to have this home, because a lot of people overextend to get the home, and then they just say, well, we're just going to stay home. We're just going to stay home all the time. We've got this beautiful home now, and they realize that they've become prisoners of their home. So, and we all were prisoners with COVID, but and so you want to have that home that's perfectly set up, but you also don't want to live for that payment, just to work and pay your payments. So anyway, there's my 101 on how finances. But so you got your $300,000 house, and you're going to versus rent. So how much is that $300,000 house per month going to cost? Because that's how we think when we're renting. We think, how much is this monthly payment? Well, if your monthly payment in Tampa and your renting is, say, $1,500, $1,600, it's going to make sense for you to save up that $60,000 down payment or get gift funds from a relative for $60,000 to put you in a home, because your home payment's going to be around $1,400 with taxes and insurance, approximately $1,500 a month. So you're going to be up. You're going to be paying less money. But of course, what comes with home ownership is responsibility, and responsibility not just owning your home, but taking care of your home. So when I say that, what does that mean? That means maintenance. That means, if you're in an apartment complex and you're used to someone, taking you have a sink that becomes something's in it, and they call a plumber. You don't have to call a plumber. You don't have to have extra money or emergency funds or any type of backup to make sure that your home is, this apartment's taken care of. Now, when you get a home, you're going to have extra money just in case any of this happen, anything happens. Do I need a plumber? Is there one of the shingles fell off the roof? I need a roofer. I need someone to mow the yard. Do I have enough to buy a lawnmower? Things like that are going to come into play. So, obviously, if you need help, I'd be glad to help you. You can always call. We can weigh out which is better for you at the time. But, with home ownership there becomes responsibility. Most of the time, your insurance is going to be with your mortgage payment, so you don't have to worry about that. And your taxes, you're going to have to pay your taxes yearly, and most of the time, it's in your mortgage payment too. So you're not going to have to worry about that either. It's going to be one payment. So basically, you're purchasing, in this scenario, you're purchasing a $300,000 home. Someone has gift funded you $60,000, and now your payment's going to be about $1,400 a month. Now, in comparison to, I'm renting a place in Tampa. I'm paying $1,600, and most people feel like they're just throwing that money away. $1,600 a month in Tampa is going to probably get you a 2-bedroom right now, an apartment complex. And there's limited inventory on the rentals, limited inventory on the sales. And so when you're purchasing this home, you're thinking to yourself, am I going to be here a while? Is this home in a place that is safe for me? Am I a single mom? Am I a single dad? Single parents, everybody wants to be in a safe place. But when you have children, what school district is it in? What location is it close to the school? Can I get the choice program because I'm not happy with these schools? All this is going to play into your home purchase. So it's not just, I like that house and I'm going to go for it. It's more like, well, am I in the financial position? Is my credit score good? Can I get a pre-approval? Do I have a down payment? Do I like the location? Is the crime in the area minimal? Is the location good for if I have kids? The ratings of the schools? All this is coming into play with your home purchase. So, we can help you with that as far as realtors go. I'd be glad to help you with that too. If you're a single person and you just want to get like a condo or a townhouse, then you're going to weigh out the other things, which are going to be, so I see this townhouse, I see this condo. Wow, it's only $250,000. That single family residence was $300,000. It's less expensive. That looks great. But the only thing that you need to check on is your monthly fees for your HOA fees are going to be, is there a community pool? That's awesome. I don't have to pay for my own pool. But you are going to pay because you are going to pay the HOA fee monthly. So some of those HOA fees are $300 a month, and this is on top of your mortgage payment. And then some of them can be up to $600 depending on which county we're in. So if we're in Pinellas and Hillsborough County, some of your HOAs are going to be $500, $600 a month, and you're going to have a great deal on the condo or the townhouse. It's going to be a little bit less expensive, maybe a little smaller, and then you're going to have workout rooms, and you're going to have, pools, and you're going to have you're not going to be able to. You're not going to have the responsibility of mowing your yard. You're going to have exterior paint done. The roofs are going to be covered on some of them, and all this is, and it's all great, but you're going to also pay for that. You're going to pay between, like I said, sometimes in Pasco you can find them for $250, but most of the time it's going to be between $300 to $600 a month extra on top of your mortgage payment. So, with that being said, you're still going to have to pay for your insurance with your mortgage payment. So you're going to have your insurance still included, but the exterior the exterior insurance will most likely be covered. But like I was saying, all the HOAs are different. So that's where you need a realtor to come in and tell you what's covered and what's not covered. And sometimes the cable will be covered, and sometimes the garbage will be covered. So there's perks, but you're going to be paying for those perks, and they could, like I was saying, be possibly between $400 to $500 extra a month on top of that. So you've got single-family residence, you got condos, you got townhomes, and then a lot of times people will look at mobile homes too. Mobile homes, if they're on their own land, you're going to have to get a pretty good loan, as far as they're going to be a little bit more stringent on the mobile homes. We did a show on that, and they're very stringent as far as like the straps underneath of the mobile home, stuff like that. But when you look at, people will look at mobile home parks, and as a realtor, we usually don't sell in parks because you don't own the land. And the reason anyone can sell a mobile home, you don't have to be a realtor, but they're not considered real property because your mobile home has a hitch on it. So in other words, your mobile home is mobile. It's not, it is connected to your property, don't get me wrong, but you're going to be paying a lot fee. And when that hitch is on there, they're not going to call it real property and attach it to that property. So parks are totally different, and most of the parks you see are 55 and over too. So if you have questions about, even if you do have questions about mobile homes, you can always give me a call as well, and I can point you in the right direction, or I can help you if it's considered a single family residence where the mobile home is being sold with the land. So, but as young buyers, millennials, I feel bad because they do say, I don't foresee myself even ever owning a home. And it's like, don't say that. You have to be positive and think about how to get that down payment, how to save up that down payment. So, tax time is coming up, and that's a great time. If you have kids, you're going to get money back, and that's a great money. That money, don't spend it before it comes, because that money is great for a down payment on a home. It's also good for, I know the most popular things to do is go buy a TV. I know Walmart can't keep TVs in this time of year because of tax returns. But instead of going and buying that $2,000, $3,000 TV, let's think about your future, because 3 years goes by fast. And if we were to save that tax credit that you're going to get back, for 3 years, there's your down payment right there. So, think about all these things, and definitely think about different ways. If your family's not that family that's going to give you that down payment, think about different ways to get that down payment money, to go and purchase instead of renting. So I was writing down just different things. Can you afford it? Which was one of the many things that people, ask about with that down payment. Can I afford it? Meaning that if I do get the home, and we were saying like plumbing or a roof, now is the house going to just become dilapidated? Because I got the down payment, but now I can't afford to repair anything in the home whatsoever. Probably not the best time to purchase then. Probably should save up the, emergency fund, or extra a little bit of money just in case something did go wrong. Or do I have really good credit where I could, pull another credit card to repair, AC or a roof or something major that's going on. So that's one of those can I actually afford it? And, you know, one of those things, you know, in life, nothing comes easy, unless you hit the lottery maybe, but nothing comes easy. So if you're, you know, looking to purchase a home and you're a first-time homeowner, it's going to be a little stressful. You know, that's just kind of unfortunately part of the game when you're trying to save up the funds and stuff. So you need that cash reserve, you know, to make sure if you're taking the plunge, you're going to make sure that you're good as far as, you know, mowing your yard, having the ability to maintain, unless you're super handy and you can do a lot of this stuff yourself. And then we were saying, is it cheaper than renting? You know, it depending on which price range you're in, you know, it's going to, you know, which market are we comparing it to? Are we comparing Hillsborough County prices to Pasco? Are we comparing Hillsborough renting prices to Hillsborough purchasing prices? Your purchases might be higher. So depending on what area you're in or you're interested in living in, just give me a call and we can figure out, we can compare, okay, this is Jessie, this is what I'm paying per month right now renting, and this is the area I want to live in. You know, of course, if you call me and want to live in Hyde Park and you're renting in Hillsborough County, probably not going to work out. Probably going to be a lot more to live in Hyde Park compared to, you know, town and country. So, you know, those are just different markets totally. But sometimes, you know, you're not sure and you're just, you know, kind of all over the place. Like, my lease is coming up. I just want to throw numbers at you. What do you think? And I can honestly tell you, you know, if you tell me I have this much money I want to put down on the home, you know, we can go and we can get you pre-approved. I use, obviously, the mortgage firm with Dylan, and she's a great lender. She can get you pre-approved. We can run the numbers and see how good your credit is, and she can go over, you know, I don't have to know exactly how much is your bank account, but we can kind of give you a plan for the future, even if it's, you know, a year from now, 2 years from now. I've been doing this 16 years, so next year I'll still be doing this. And I think Dylan's beat me on that. I think she's been doing it like 22 years. So Dylan was 10 years old when she started, just in case you're watching this, Dylan. And but she's been doing it a while, and she can get you pre-approved, and it'll be no problem. But yeah, if you guys have any questions on that, just give me a call. And then we're going to go over, we're going to take a break, but we're going to come back and we're going to talk about Homestead Exemption. I know a lot of my buyers this year purchased, and I want to talk to you guys about Homestead Exemption, and we're also going to still compare renting versus buying. And special thank you to Nightberry Title Services, my sponsor. They're always great for closing the houses and doing it in a timely manner, and just fantastic to work with. So thanks so much, you guys over there. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back. I'm Jessie Walters from Charles Rutenberg. I'm still here waiting to tell you guys more about buying versus renting. So hopefully I'm helping you guys out, and if you're on the fence whether you should buy or rent, hopefully this is giving you some knowledge and stuff. We're talking about the different types of financing, and we're talking about 20% down, which I know scares a lot of people. The only reason I talk so much about 20% down right now is because it's been such a bidding war, meaning that it's so competitive. A lot of sellers like to see the 20% down. There are other loans though. So a lot of times if you're just a first-time home, not just, but if you're a first-time home buyer, there's 3.5% down, which is called FHA loan. This loan is for people, like you have to fit into a certain income category, and then your FHA will be 3.5% down. A lot of times, if you can imagine, a seller's getting, say, 3 to 15 offers, and you're looking, and of course, when you get the offers in, you're like, cash, okay, that's a good offer. That's going to be number one, and then conventional loan that I was just talking about, because it's 20% down, that's second place, and then 3.5% down. So there's different ways to leverage these loans so you can kind of even them out and really keep your seller intrigued with that 3.5% down, even though it's not as much down as your 20%. And sometimes the cash offers, they'll go a little lower because they're like, well, it's cash, and they might take a little lower because comparison of offers to conventional, because it's cash and I can close in 2 weeks. So they always feel like, well, it's cash, I'll just offer this. So if you have cash, make sure it's still competitive. If you're 20% down, you have a good offer, again, make sure that your offer is competitive. But if you have that 3.5% FHA and you feel, a lot of buyers right now feel like FHA, it's not going to work, and I've already put in offers with this realtor and nothing's working. So I'm going to tell you a couple tips on how to win an offer with that FHA loan. So now the reason people don't like sellers, realtors don't like the FHA loans is because FHA, they say is conservative on appraisals. So what does that mean? So I'm purchasing an FHA, I'm going to put this contract in, for example, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and it says 3.5% down. Actually, I did sell one for Mr. and Mrs. Smith with 3.5% down. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Colleen, Jeff, how are you guys doing? And anyway, so 3.5% down, you have your contract, and how do I get that offer? Well, what you're going to do is there's a couple different things. You can either A, put more than your 3.5% down to show them that you're a solid buyer, even though it is FHA. You can B, put a appraisal waiver. And what's an appraisal waiver? Well, I'm going to tell you right now, 5 years ago and 4 years ago, we didn't even talk about appraisal waivers. There was no such thing for us. I mean, there was still a thing, but there was no such thing as, it wasn't a daily thing that we actually talked about. We didn't talk about appraisal waivers all the time because we didn't need to. It was just, there was a couple offers coming in. There wasn't loads and loads of offers coming in, every day and stuff. So anyway, on the appraisal waiver, what's it mean? It means that you're going to put the 3.5% down, and then if the house comes in and the contract price is $300,000, and the appraisal comes in for $290,000, you're going to come up with the extra $10,000. So now this is a slippery slope because you're going to have cash, and you're going to either going to have gift funds from a relative just in case, and you're going to have to have a realtor who really knows how to make sure that your valuation is going to be close. So let's just say it comes in $20,000 less. So you put your appraisal waiver in, and you have your contract price $300,000. You have your FHA loan. All that stuff's going to still stay the same. You're still going to have to come up with your 3.5%. But now, because of that gap, you're going to have to come up with $20,000 extra. So your appraisal addendum worked. In other words, you waived the appraisal, and that worked, and you've got the bid, but now you've got to come up with your 3.5% and your $20,000. So you have to make sure you have that cash. So if you want to go FHA and you feel like gambling almost, because if it appraises out at 3.5%, then you're good, and your appraisal waiver, you didn't actually have to use it, or maybe it came in at $299, you had to come up with extra $1,000. But that's like I said, a slippery slope. You have to make sure you're pretty confident on your $300,000 offer. If it's a cookie cutter, I hate to say that word, but cookie cutter neighborhood, and the one across the street sold for 300, and it's exactly the same square footage and exactly the same home, and it doesn't have a pool and exactly the same upgrades, and the one down the street is exactly the same and it's 300, and then you're probably safe. You don't even have to worry. Just send that appraisal, appraisal waiver over, and it's no problem. But so you've got your appraisal waiver. What else can you do? You got FHA, and again, you're going to have extra cash. And I know this is probably very confusing to you guys, but there's a thing called an escalation clause, and that's going to help you out too. So in other words, Jessie, what's an escalation clause? Well, I'm just going to put it in layman's terms, and basically, it's a piece of paper stating that you're going to increase your bid so much up into a certain point. So you can put whatever you want on there. You can put, I increase my bid $100 over, or I usually say 500 to 1,000 over. So let me give you an example. So you have a house, 300,000, and there's 5 other offers coming in, and they said, well, we have loads of offers coming in. Okay, so I have this FHA loan, it's 3.5% down. I've got a little extra cash, so I'm willing to pay over the price. Okay, you are? How much over? 10,000 over. Okay, let's put an escalation clause. Okay, so what's the escalation clause going to state? It's going to state that we're going to pay $1,000 over everybody's offer up into a certain point, which you said 10,000, so up to 310,000. So if someone else that we don't know puts an offer in for 304, our offer is going to increase to 305. Someone puts an offer in for 307, our offer is going to increase to 308. If someone puts an offer in for 311, we're outbid. So when you do that and you have an FHA, you're going to definitely want to include the appraisal waiver, because when you start going over the asking prices, the chances of it, actually appraising out is going to get slimmer and slimmer. So, if a realtor knows what they're doing is priced it accordingly, then you're going to want to you're going to feel confident at that asking price. If you give them asking price, when you start going over, that's when the, where it becomes, like I said, the slippery slope. Is it going to appraise out? Is it not going to appraise out? So if you have comps in the area, then you can double check it. But that escalation clause is awesome. Even when you have a cash, when you have a cash offer, I just had one in Spring Hill, and we beat out 17 other offers. And how do we do that? Escalation clause. We use the escalation clause. We came in confident, and then my buyers were concerned. They said, well, what if they just say that there's another offer? So in other words, what if we put this offer in for 350 and the escalation clause is up to 370, and the other realtor just says, well, we have one for 369. So you're at 370. And unfortunately, that's not how it works. We don't just take, even though, ethically, realtors shouldn't say, oh, I have this offer. We have to see the offer in writing. So it came down to basically, when the escalation clause kicks in, or when you have to prove that there's other offers, backup offers waiting there, for you, you're going to ask for proof of that contract. So even though you may have worked with, I'm not going to say any realtors, but you may have worked with this realtor over and over, you're still, for your customer, you're going to say, okay, the escalation clause kicked in. We're going to go 1,000 over the asking price of your offer, but we're going to need that offer sent over. At that point, that realtor is going to take a black marker and cross out the person's name, but then you can see that it's an actual contract and it's actually legit and has the same, it's all been signed and everything by that buyer. And that's your competition, and that's who you're beating, and that's what the escalation clause is for. A lot of realtors don't like to use escalation clauses, and a lot of customers don't even know what they are. But bidding wars, that's what escalation clauses basically are made for. I got excuse me, the tip of the day if you're a cash buyer, the one I just did. I made up, okay, so escalation clause is just a piece of paper that's stating how much you're going to go over up to a certain point. So I wrote on, made up my own escalation clause because we were a cash purchaser, that we will only beat cash. So in other words, I know a lot of the financing people that they'll go over and over the amounts and stuff. So in other words, they'll go 10, 20,000 because they feel like, well, we're going to just finance it anyway. And then you have the escalation clause and you're actually beating them with cash versus a mortgage, which isn't fair. So on the escalation clause, I crossed out mortgage and I put the word cash only. This escalation clause pertains to cash only offers, which knocks out all the silly business of trying to beat, an FHA financing offer where someone put over $20,000 and we're a cash offer. So that's ideal. The escalation clause is ideal for someone who would like to beat everybody, but only wants to beat the cash offers because we know that cash is going to be the number one. So there's a tip of the day. If you're a realtor watching this, like I said, I made up my own escalation clause, and if it's in writing in the state of Florida, it's legal. So if everybody initials your little cash on there, you've got a new thing there. So, excuse me. So yeah, so that's how we beat 17 people. And I even put that as an advertisement on Instagram, on Facebook, because I was all proud of myself. But to be honest with you, I am known to beat, to win the multi-bidding situation. When we first went into multi-bidding situations, I was, upset and stressed. And now I honestly, my customers, I'll say, if you do what I say, I'll tell you how to win. If it's too much, too stressful, too much money, then, that's up to you. Because if they say, Jessie, I really want this house, tell me how to get this house. We need this house. So first of all, I call the other realtor if they're not answering their phones on the selling side, because I know a lot of times right now, the selling sides, there's so many calls. You're getting, when I list, I get between 25, 30 calls. My voicemail gets filled up in one day. I'm getting text messages like crazy. And even though it is stressful on the selling side, the realtors, they do need to call the people back. They do need to confirm receipt of offers. Unfortunately, if the market was to fall, we don't want to burn bridges. We don't want to act like rock star realtors, and then we have, basically real estate professionals on our side when the market slows. So you want to treat all your buyers with respect, even if they don't get the offer. You want to take the time, thank them for the offer, and then at this same point, this as a realtor tip of the day is to ask them, do you want to be a backup offer? So if you have a really good offer and you're like, okay, I'm going to go with this one. Okay, everybody else, get lost. That's not the right attitude. You want to call each realtor or send that mass text or send that mass email to each and every realtor asking them if you'd like to be a backup offer too. What this does is it actually puts leverage for when you're having that home inspection now on this contract that worked. You have a backup buyer sitting there waiting. So what does that mean for your buyer and seller? It means that if this buyer doesn't want to go through, if they're not happy with the home inspection, if there was a problem, they can't work it out with the seller, you have this buyer waiting that next week for 1 week, this buyer is sitting and waiting, how's the home inspection? How'd it go? And it puts pressure on everybody to work it out, but it also, you have a buyer right there waiting. So if this was to fall through, you didn't step on everybody's toes, you were very responsive, and you had that buyer just sitting there waiting just in case something goes wrong. So, you have to take that extra step. It is extra work, but, as far as realtors, I feel like we never stop working. So it's one of those, you take that extra step, you ask for that backup contract, and you're polite and you tell everybody, thank you, and if you get, good wishes and stuff like that, you can always back up and say, hey, this contract didn't go through. They had a problem with the air conditioner. It's old. Buyer didn't realize how old it was. Seller doesn't want to give any money back. Are you guys interested in going forward with this old AC? And then back up and pick up those other offers. But if you have ignored those other offers and not acknowledged those other offers, not even told them they didn't get the offer, then the problem is going to be when you call, they probably won't even remember who you are at this point. So you want to make sure that you don't just step on toes if it doesn't work out with your 10, 15 offers. Even though, like, at some point, when you do have all these offers in, I mean, I usually like to I'll print out some of them. You know, there'll be like 5, which I know, on the bottom of the totem pole as far as offers go. But then the 5 best, I'll print out and I'll compare them all. And I'll write the agent's name and I'll write the buyer's name. And then kind of like, then I'll put the type of financing, whether it's cash, the amounts, is there escalation clauses, the max amounts of the escalation clauses, and kind of look on each one. And then like I said, the ones that are closest to this number one offer, I'll say, do you want to be a backup? Do you want to be a backup? Do you want me to call you? Do you want me to call you? And even though it takes extra time, it also takes extra time if this contract falls through to find another buyer. Now you got to put it back on the market. You were rude to everyone. You have no one to call. You have no backup buyers. Even though you had 10 offers, now no one wants to talk to you because you didn't take the time. So make sure you take that time, realtors, to actually, reach out to the other realtors to cover yourself. It will take you an extra hour or two to email all these people back, but in the long run, it'll save you days of work, remarketing. It'll save you money, advertising. It'll save you money and time, again, going back out, showing another home inspection, all that stuff. So, and it also, like I said, leverages your seller, because now your buyer is looking up at, hey, I have these backup contracts, do you want this with this home inspection with this bad AC or not? And then at that point, they may say, you know what, there's already 10 people in line who want this. They have 3 backup buyers. Let's just go forward and work it out. And so either way, it helps you just by, good mojo in the future too. So it's all good. But I hope that those tips helped you guys. And I want to talk to you again about Homestead Exemption. If you purchased a home from me this in 2021, sit tight. I'm going to tell you how to apply for Homestead Exemption, and I'll be right back. Hey guys, welcome back. So I want to talk to you guys about property tax exemption for homestead property. So basically you're homesteading, and if you're my customers, my buyers, I've talked to you guys about this before, about homesteading your property and what your deadlines are and how to homestead. So I want to talk to you guys, and this is really important. If you own the property, it's 2022 right now, unless somehow it's a rerun and I'm in 2026. I hope I still my hair is still this color in 2026. But anyway, it should be about the same as far as years to come, because as years past, it's been the same how to do it. So the only thing that's changed is we've gone on the internet, so we can do it on the internet now. But most of the counties, so if you purchase from me in Hillsborough County, you're going to go Hillsborough, Homestead Exemption, and make sure that you're actually on the government site, Pinellas County, Pasco County, Hernando County, and it's going to give you how to actually file a homestead exemption. So I'm going to give you pointers on how to file, but you're going to double check it by Googling which county that you're in, only because you know how it is. It's almost exactly the same, but there's some that are, like just a little teeny bit different. So who can file? Did you own your property last year? So right now it's 2022. Did I own my property 2021? You did? You purchased property? Okay, you can file for homestead exemption. Do I have another property that I've homestead exempt in another state? If the answer is yes, you cannot homestead exempt here. There's a fine here if you do, and you know who will tell on you? Your neighbors. Your neighbors will tell on you. You'll probably tell on yourself by accident. You won't even know you're telling on yourself. But there's a big fine. I want to say it was $150,000. I don't know if I have it here. It was pretty high, but so if you're homesteaded, if you're gonna live in this home, what do I need to file homestead exemption? So the first thing I always tell everybody is you're gonna have to change your address. Now, your address on your driver's license has to match for homestead exemption. Okay, so I had just had one. It was kind of an interesting story. She was homestead exempt with her son on her house, and she moved in with her husband. They got married, so she moved out of her son's house. He's an adult, so don't worry. It's not you don't need to call child services. He's an actual adult. He was like 19 years old. So he stays there, and he, of course, has homestead exemption on this home. And then she moves in with her, boyfriend, fiance, new husband, and changes her driver's license. Guess who shows up at her door? Pasco County. Pasco County says, hey, is this your new residence? Now, believe it or not, why would they go to her door? Because she's still homestead exemption on this home, and when she changed her driver's license, it red flagged her. So they pulled up at her new home and said, hey, are you homesteaded there? She said, oh no, I'm so sorry. I forgot. Now, the only way to take, once you get homestead exemption on your property, to take it off is to actually call, because if you remember, if you have owned a home, they send you a postcard, and it says, if everything's okay this year, you don't have to do anything. But if there's a change, you either need to check this box and mail this thing back, or call us and we're going to take your homestead exemption off. So anyway, so she took her homestead exemption off at the prior home. They didn't, do anything to her because it hadn't been a full year. And she, it wasn't like she was being scandalous and trying to homestead both properties. But that is in fact what happened to her. And they called her out as soon as that address changed. They caught her quickly, which, not that she was again trying to get it. So if you're watching this, she wasn't going to jail. She wasn't trying to be scandalous. She just moved in, got married, and forgot to take the homestead exemption off. And they will notice. So again, if you have it in another state, the how they red flag you is your driver's license. So if you're going to move from Illinois and you're coming here to Florida and you're going to homestead exempt, first thing you're going to do is you're going to walk in to the county building that you live in, the county you live in, and you're going to change your driver's license. Okay, so now you got your driver's license changed. You're going to need your social security number for that. Now you're going to have different things for that too to prove your identity. So make sure you call for your driver's license, and make sure you have the paperwork in place, because it's not just here's my social security number with your driver's license anymore either. So you change your driver's license. They're going to ask you when you get in there your for homestead your social security number, and they're going to file it there. The name on your title of your home should match your driver's license name, which should match your social security, which sounds like something that should be obvious, but sometimes people will be like, oh, that's my name, or that's my maiden name, or all the names don't match. Make sure if you just got married, maybe bring your marriage, license with you. If the deed, the deed should match. All these things should match in line. But if you mess it up, don't worry, they're going to tell you how to correct it. Now, do you or a dependent living in the dwelling, so in January 1st. So you can't file homestead exemption unless you have lived in the home too. So if you haven't moved in yet and you're like, well, I bought it and I'm just going to go file and I'm going to move in, make sure that you have the electric on, make sure that you're moved in So you can file the homestead exemption. So that question should be, do I live there? Or the answer should be, yes, I live there. Do you claim residency in another country or state? So again, the state or country. Like, so if I'm from France and, I have all this stuff, but I'm claiming there too, you can still get in trouble for having two residents if they find out that you're claiming residency in another country and you're filing it. And I don't think they call it homestead exemption in like Europe, but they have some other way to say dual, citizenship and all that stuff with the properties. So you're going to have, they may ask you, because of that, proof of residency outside Florida, the date that it ended. So if you're just moving here, and like I said, you lived in Illinois, they may ask you, did you sell your house? Can we see some closing statements? Usually they're not like, FBI agents trying to, they really want to help you and stuff. But if you, I hate to use the word sketchy because some of you guys might not know what that means. But if you're doing something sketchy, you may red flag, some behavior that they ask for extra stuff. So it's not being prejudiced against you, but they want to make sure that there's nothing weird going on here. So you got your Florida driver's license, if you don't drive, if you're legally blind, you got an identification, a Florida identification card, or if disabled and you can't drive and stuff. So evidence of giving up the driver's license from another state. So again, I came from Illinois and I just switched over. I got my driver's license in Florida. Did you give that driver's license up? Because that's how you would get homestead in Illinois and get homestead here. So they want to make sure nothing weird's going on there. So they're going to ask you most likely for your license plate, which is going to be a Florida license plate. So again, can't be an Illinois license plate, an Illinois driver's license. I'm not picking on Illinois. It could be, anywhere. But so you're going to have your driver's license. Your license plate's going to your license plate also is going to match name of your current employer. So if you're retired, you'll just say you're retired. But if you're living here, sometimes they will ask you where you're working. Declaration of domicile or residency date. So if you're from out of the country, they're going to ask when you became a citizen, your residency date. Address you're listed on your tax IRS return. So those two match. So you want those two to match. Bank statements and checking account mailing address. So a lot of times they'll ask you for here it is, utilities and homestead address. They'll ask you for electric bill to bring that too. So you'll have your bank account, which they're not looking for your amounts. You can cross those out. You can cross your bank account number out. But they want to see the mail going to your house with your bank account, because most people don't live in a home and have their bank account sent somewhere else unless there's some funky business going on there. So they want those to match. And then you're going to have payment of utilities. So if you have a water bill, you're not going to want that going to Illinois. You know what I mean? It's going to go to your home address here in Florida. And again, if you're having mail forwarded to another state, they're not going to forward those homestead exemption cards to that. You're not going to be in Illinois getting a homestead exemption card. Don't forward your mail, because that's going to be a red flag. You're going to have to do things like legitimately. So say that 3 times fast. So you're going to have different homestead amounts when you're a new resident. You're going to have the $25,000 first-time home buyers, and then if there's other homestead exemptions that you can get. So there's disability, and there's also you're going to have widow exemption too. And there's other there's other ones that you can apply for. And so what you want to do is ask when you go in there. But if you are a widow, you're going to get extra exemption. The first $25,000 value is exempt from the property. So they're going to basically, if you're tax assessed, not your actual sale of your home, But so say you bought your home for, we were using 300 earlier, but let's just say you bought your home for 500,000 and the tax assessed is 480. The first 25,000 of that tax assessed is what's gonna be reduced. Not the sale of the price of your home, but the tax assessed. Usually they're different. Right now they're kind of close. Sometimes it's the tax assessed. So the actual county has put the value on your home, and that county value is the amount that we're talking about where the $25,000 is going to come off. And it's also going to lock in your tax rate so that the taxes can only go up 3% per year. So if you forget to do the homestead, it's kind of like just literally the cap. It's like having the cap off. The county can say, well, Mr. and Mrs. Jones across the street, they sold their house for more, and now the tax value is going to go up. And so your taxes are going to go up. And then, Mr. and Mrs. Smith over here, they sold theirs for this, and so your tax value is going to go up. So if you're renting your house out, you're not going to be able to homestead it, and your taxes are going to go up every year, most likely right now. I don't really see taxes going down anywhere right now. So homestead is key if you're living in the home. Don't forget to do it. Don't be lazy on yourself, because this is going to save you money, and it's also going to save your taxes from increasing every year. So as we were saying, if you have a rental property, there's no cap on that rental property. So which means that, you may pay $2,000 this year in taxes, and then next year, because you may get the prior tax bill, but then the following year they may reassess it, and when they reassess it, then you're gonna pay more taxes and more taxes and more, and there's no cap. But if you put the homestead exemption on it, you're gonna put that cap on there, and then the county is only gonna be able to increase it. I believe it's 3%. You can verify, but it should be only 3%. And if they go higher than that, you can actually call them out and say, hey, what are you guys doing over there? And they'll adjust it back. Now there's different ways to pay your tax bill. If you have your house paid for in full, you can still have quarterly tax bills sent to you. All you have to do is go online, and there's a box on there. You just press the box, and then they'll send you quarterly payments. So instead of just getting your bill in November, you'll get a bill, it'll start quarterly. I think it starts September, and it'll be every 4 months, 4 months to, so you'll have the quarterly bill. And so basically, if your bill was $4,000, you'll get a bill for $1,000, you get a bill for $1,000, you get a bill for $1,000, and then you'll get a bill for like $9.95 because you'll get a discount for paying the bill earlier. So if you want, basically that bill split up, there's an option for that. If you're paying a mortgage, your taxes are most likely being escrowed. They're taking out already for that, and then they're adjusting when you purchase that home. If your taxes have gone up from the time that they purchased that home to next year, your escrow will change. Your bill, your loan payment may go up, because most of the time now we're seeing that the taxes are going up when they reassess it, and that's why it's key to lock this in. And I know it's very, very confusing, but basically go get homestead exemption. If I sold you a house last year, go get homestead exemption. So it's key to get it as soon as possible. The cutoff, I want to say, is March, but I can't remember the exact day. But call your county that you're in, and you can find out. But I would do it if you do it this month, then you're safe. So you can get between 50 to 75,000 in homestead, just different homestead exemptions. Actually, 50 value between 50. I think 50,000 is the top. But basically, so if you live in a mobile home, your place is worth 50,000, and you have a widow exemption and homestead, you're probably not paying any taxes. You're probably paying hardly anything. If you owned it a long time ago, if you're paying, 500,000, what's key is that, you're getting the discount, but like I said, you're also locking it in. Because if you don't do it, you're just, I'm too busy to do it. Next year, your taxes are going to go up. Next year, your taxes are going to go up. And believe it or not, I do have people that just don't have time to go file to homestead exemption. And so I wish I was one of those people that could just be like, oh, I just don't have time. I can't afford, well, you can't afford not to go file homestead exemption. So make sure you do that. And again, make sure that when you file homestead exemption, make sure you don't make the mistake of filing homestead exemption where you already are homestead exempting somewhere else, only because you can get in big trouble. And like I said, I believe the fine is $150,000, so it's definitely not worth the couple grand you're going to save as far as homestead exemption is going to save you, so in the long run. And they, like I was saying, then after that, the postcards will come, and next year, you'll just blow through it like a breeze. You'll get the postcard in the mail. It'll say if anything has changed, let us know. If nothing's changed, you can literally throw it in the trash at your home. But if you say, well, I'm going to go live with my son and I'm just going to have all the mail forwarded there, that's going to be a red flag, because that's going to get returned back to the county that you live in, that postcard, and they're going to make a call to you or send you a certified letter stating, hey, what's going on? Do you live in this home or not? So you be real careful. If you're trying to be sneaky, don't be sneaky. It's just totally not worth it. But if you just purchased a home, even if you purchased a home this year, the sooner you file, then you won't forget. And I always say, when you purchase the home, when that title work comes back in the mail, that should be the time that you take that title policy into the county with your driver's license, utility bill, social security card, and bank statement, and check again to make sure there's nothing else that you need. But if you guys are buying or selling, please give me a call. I'd be glad to help, and all my contact information will be up. Everybody have a great day.